You felt it, haven't you? That trembling under your skin, that quiet unease that rises for no clear reason. Maybe it greets you in the stillness of morning, before your mind even begins to think. Maybe it whispers in the space between tasks, when the world grows quiet enough for you to notice the pulse of something deeper. Everyone calls it anxiety. They say you're stressed, overwhelmed, too sensitive for this fast world. They tell you to fix it, to manage it, to breathe it away. But what if that feeling isn't anxiety at all? What if it's the first stirring of your soul remembering who you are? You see, there comes a moment in every life when the old structures no longer hold. The mask you've worn for years starts to slip, and what's underneath begins to breathe again. It's uncomfortable because you've been taught to hide it. This trembling, this restlessness, this ache for something you can't quite name. This is not weakness. It is awakening. It is your consciousness expanding beyond the small box the world built for you. The reason it hurts is because you've been pressing yourself into shapes that don't fit the vastness of your being. For so long, we have mistaken awakening for sickness. When our hearts start to feel too much, we call it disorder. When our intuition grows loud, we call it fear. When our body tells us it can't keep running at the speed of the machines, we call it burnout. But maybe, just maybe, these are not signs of malfunction. Maybe they are the birth pangs of awareness. Your system isn't breaking, it's recalibrating to truth. The truth is, you were never meant to live half alive, rushing from one distraction to the next. You were never meant to silence your inner voice just to appear stable. The feeling inside you, the one you keep trying to medicate, suppress, or reason away, is your inner compass begging you to listen. It's not saying, something is wrong with you. It's saying, something about this life no longer matches who you are becoming. That difference, that dissonance, is the sound of evolution. And like every birth, it comes with pressure. So if your chest tightens, if your breath shortens, if the world feels too loud, don't rush to escape it. Pause, feel it. Somewhere beneath the noise, a softer rhythm is trying to emerge. That trembling is your consciousness knocking on the door, asking to be let in. It's not here to punish you, it's here to awaken you. This journey isn't about curing anxiety, it's about understanding what it truly is. It's about remembering that you are not malfunctioning, you are awakening. This is the moment your soul says, enough pretending. This is where the awakening begins. Welcome to Whispers of Being. There is something strange about the way modern life defines peace. It tells you that peace is a clean desk, an empty inbox, a perfectly managed schedule. It teaches you that happiness comes from control, from mastering every variable, from never feeling lost or uncertain. And so you try. You plan your days down to the minute, fill your lungs with air measured in mindfulness counts, and promise yourself that once you fix the anxiety, you'll finally rest. But what if the anxiety isn't the enemy? What if it's the only part of you still trying to wake you up? Imagine this. Before dawn, you open your eyes, and the first thing you reach for is your phone. Notifications hum like a swarm of bees. The world is already waiting, asking for your attention, your energy, your time. Your pulse quickens before your feet even touch the ground. Everyone says this is normal. Everyone says this is life. But deep down, something resists. Something in your chest whispers, this can't be all there is. That whisper, that quiet resistance, is what most people call anxiety. Yet it is far closer to awareness than to illness. The truth is, our society has lost its rhythm. We have traded sunrise and sunset for fluorescent light and deadlines. We measure our worth in numbers and screens, not in the warmth of connection or the quiet of breath. We rush from one moment to the next as if existence were a race we could somehow win. And in this chaos, our bodies remember what our minds have forgotten. We were not built for this. We are beings of rhythm, not machinery of productivity. We are souls meant to listen, not systems meant to perform. Your anxiety, that pulsing energy in your chest, is not a malfunction. It's a message. It's like a smoke alarm blaring because something in your house is truly on fire. It's your soul tapping the glass, saying, something is wrong here. You may take pills, try therapies, breathe in boxes, chant mantras, and while all of that may soothe the surface, the deeper question remains unanswered. Why is there a fire at all? What is burning that should never have caught flame? Consider this. If you were a fish told to live on dry land, you would gasp and thrash, your whole body rebelling against the lie. Someone might tell you to adapt, to think positive, to take medication for your breathing issues. But no amount of positive thinking can make gills breathe air. Your anxiety is that same rebellion. It's your soul refusing to adapt to a world that violates its nature. You are not broken. You are in the wrong environment. The cure isn't sedation. It's remembering where you belong. And where do you belong? You belong in the rhythm of life, where your breath follows the tide, where you move with seasons, if not against them. You belong in authenticity, where you can laugh when you are joyful and cry when you are sad, not hide both behind polite smiles. You belong in truth, where your inner knowing guides you more than external validation. Anxiety is your body's way of saying, return to the ocean. Yet instead of listening, most people double down. They build stronger walls, take faster pills, set stricter goals. They try to fix the fish instead of questioning the desert. There's a tragic irony here. The people who feel the most anxious are often the most awake. They are the ones who haven't fully numbed themselves to the absurdity of the modern world. Most have adapted so deeply to the artificial that they no longer feel its poison. They walk through life like sleepwalkers, ticking boxes, earning money, scrolling feeds, calling this existence normal. And yet there are a few who still sense that something essential is missing. They are the canaries in the coal mine of civilization. Miners once carried canaries underground because the birds were more sensitive to toxic gas. When a canary started to falter, it wasn't weak, it was aware. It could feel the danger before anyone else could. Your anxiety is the same sensitivity. It's your inner canary gasping for air, warning you that something about the environment, the noise, the pace, the disconnection is toxic. And what does modern culture do? It locks the canary in a soundproof cage and calls it therapy. It tells you not to feel so much, not to notice so deeply. But what if feeling deeply is exactly what keeps you human? Think about the people who call you too sensitive. They mean it as criticism, but sensitivity is the ability to sense. It is perception, intuition, awareness. Without it, there would be no art, no empathy, no love. Your sensitivity, your restlessness, your inability to fully conform, these are not flaws. They are evidence that your consciousness is alive. They are proof that you still notice when something is off, that your heart still beats for what is real. But of course, living awake in a sleeping world hurts. That's why anxiety feels unbearable sometimes. Your nervous system is a bridge between the visible and invisible worlds, between what is and what could be. When the world around you forgets its nature, you feel the tremor first. And that tremor doesn't mean you are broken. It means you are connected. There are two kinds of anxiety. One comes from the mind, the endless cycle of what-ifs, the fears of a future that doesn't exist, the self-spinning stories of doom. That anxiety is like a fog. It confuses, it blinds, it traps you inside illusions. But the other kind, the one we speak of here, is existential anxiety. The trembling that comes when your spirit brushes against truth. It is not here to destroy you. It is here to wake you. It arrives not to punish, but to purify. It is the discomfort of expanding beyond your old limits, the ache of light entering a long, dark room. If you can pause long enough, you'll feel the difference. Neurotic anxiety says, I am afraid I will fail. Existential anxiety whispers, I am afraid of living small. The first contracts you. The second expands you. The first keeps you circling your fears. The second points you toward growth. One comes from the mind's chatter, the other from the soul's calling. So the next time your heart races, try not to silence it. Instead, ask it, what truth are you trying to show me? Perhaps it's that your life has drifted too far from your values. Perhaps it's that you've been pretending to be someone you're not. Perhaps it's simply that your body is tired of performing. Whatever the message, it's not against you, it's for you. Your anxiety is the voice of your deepest wisdom, and it is speaking in the only language it knows: sensation, tension, energy. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are not too emotional. You are the part of humanity still capable of feeling the pulse of life itself. In a world addicted to numbing, that is an act of courage. So before you reach for another distraction, before you drown yourself in noise or numbness, pause and listen. The trembling in your chest may not be a problem to solve, but a song to hear. Because, my friend, what you call anxiety may very well be your first step toward remembering who you truly are. And in that remembering lies the beginning of awakening. There's a quiet strength hidden inside those who feel deeply. If you've ever been told you're too sensitive, too emotional, too easily affected by the world, I want you to hear this. That sensitivity isn't your flaw, it's your compass. In fact, it's one of the clearest signs that your consciousness is expanding. We live in a world that numbs. It numbs through constant stimulation, through entertainment that never ends, through the endless scrolling that fills silence with static. People no longer sit with themselves long enough to feel the tremors underneath. So when you do feel them, when you notice the subtle shifts of energy in a room, when you can sense someone's sadness behind their smile, when you feel the ache of the planet in your chest, it means you are still connected. And connection in a disconnected age is not weakness. It's rare courage. Your anxiety is that connection made visible. It's not your system failing. It's your system still responding. Imagine being in a noisy room where everyone else has gone deaf to the volume. You cover your ears, desperate for quiet, while they keep talking louder, thinking this is normal. That's what sensitivity feels like in a numbed society. Your soul hasn't gone deaf to truth yet. There's a reason this awareness feels uncomfortable. You are sensing both your own dissonance and the world's. Anxiety arises when your true rhythm collides with the artificial tempo of civilization. Your nervous system is honest. It refuses to lie for the sake of conformity. In this sense, anxiety is integrity. It's the body's refusal to betray what it knows is real. Think again of the canary in the coal mine. Miners didn't blame the bird for gasping. They thanked it for warning them. You too are a warning system for your own life. When something feels off, when you wake every morning with that faint ache in your stomach, that subtle dread, you are the canary signaling danger. Your body is wiser than the world that trained you to ignore it. Some may call this fragility, but look closer. Fragility breaks under pressure. Sensitivity bends, feels, adapts, and survives. It is not a weakness. It's the foundation of compassion. Without it, there is no empathy, no art, no wisdom. And yet the modern cure for feeling is numbing. Society prescribes distraction as salvation. It offers screens for solitude, consumption for connection, productivity for purpose. It teaches you to measure your value in output, not aliveness. No wonder your soul aches. It was never meant to live on numbers alone. Many people today confuse numbness for peace. They believe not feeling is healing. But peace isn't the absence of emotion. It's the presence of alignment. Numbness just hides the wound. It doesn't heal it. You can silence anxiety with pills or denial, but the disconnection remains underneath. Peace, true peace, can only come from listening to what the anxiety is asking you to see. Consider an ordinary moment. An office worker staring at a screen, spreadsheets open, fluorescent lights buzzing above. Everything looks normal. Steady job, good pay, structured routine. But inside, a whisper rises. This isn't what I came here for. They push it down, drink more coffee, open another file. Yet the whisper returns, persistent, rhythmic. That whisper is not sabotage, it's soul. The conflict between what is expected and what is authentic creates friction, and that friction feels like anxiety. But it is actually a sacred tension. The pressure between the false self you built to survive and the true self longing to live. And like any birth, this transition hurts because something new is trying to emerge through what is dying. Depth psychology calls this the moment of individuation, the process of separating from the collective illusion to become who you truly are. The river, once forced into straight canals, begins to crash against its barriers. It's not malfunctioning, it's trying to remember its natural flow. The turbulence is a sign of returning life. Your anxiety is that river. It churns not because you're wrong, but because your spirit resists the dams that confine it. Each wave of panic, each tremor of restlessness, each breath that feels too shallow, these are ripples against the walls of the false self. And the harder you try to hold the water back with control, the more pressure builds. Modern healing often says, learn to manage your anxiety. But the deeper invitation is not management, it's transformation. Instead of asking, how do I control this? Ask, what is this trying to show me? The river isn't asking for tighter banks, it's asking to flow free again. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your life have you built dams? Maybe it's the job that drains your vitality, the relationship that silences your truth pot, the habits that keep you safe but small. Your anxiety flares not to punish you, but to spotlight those places. It's your inner guidance system saying, here, right here, something no longer fits. Look at nature. When a tree's roots outgrow a pot, they twist and choke themselves until the gardener repots them into wider soil. Anxiety is that twisting. It's the sign you've outgrown the container you're in. The pain isn't proof of failure, it's proof of growth. There's another layer to this awakening that most overlook. Collective anxiety. This isn't just yours, it's ours. Human beings share an energetic field. When the planet is polluted, the psyche feels it. When society loses compassion, individuals grieve without knowing why. That vague sadness you carry, that exhaustion you can't name, it might be the world moving through you. Awareness feels heavy because it's collective. But that doesn't mean it's hopeless. It means you are part of the world's awakening too. When you start seeing this, you stop asking, what's wrong with me? And begin asking, what truth am I touching? Suddenly, the conversation changes. Anxiety becomes less of a diagnosis and more of a dialogue, a communication between your humanity and your divinity. In ancient traditions, those who felt too much weren't pathologized. They were honored. They became shamans, healers, visionaries. They were recognized as bridges between seen and unseen. What modernity calls disorder, ancient wisdom calls initiation. Your discomfort is not a disease to be eradicated. It's a doorway to deeper perception. This doesn't mean you shouldn't seek help when needed. Healing support is vital. But help is different from suppression. Therapy, meditation, medicine. These tools can assist the awakening, not erase it. Used consciously, they stabilize you enough to listen more clearly. Used unconsciously, they quiet the very voice trying to guide you home. The task, then, is to reclaim sensitivity as sacred. To see anxiety not as an intruder, but as a messenger. Every time your body tenses, your mind races, your breath shortens, it's not just fear, it's communication. The invitation is to pause and listen. Feel the current instead of damming it. Ask, what truth wants to be felt right now? Because every tremor carries intelligence. Every flutter in your stomach, every catch in your throat, every pounding in your chest, it's the rhythm of your consciousness expanding. It is life speaking in the language of sensation. You are not fragile. You are finely tuned. You are the bridge between a world that has forgotten how to feel and a future that remembers how to be alive again. So when that familiar surge of unease returns, when your chest tightens and your thoughts spiral, try whispering this to yourself. This isn't anxiety. This is awakening. This is my soul remembering its power. And in that remembrance, the noise begins to soften, the fear begins to loosen, and something ancient inside you begins to breathe again. For generations, humanity lived in rhythm with something vast and unseen. People rose with the sun, slept with the moon, listened to the seasons as teachers. They felt life not just through their senses, but through spirit. The sacred was woven into everything. Rainfall, bread baking, the cry of a newborn, the silence between heartbeats. No one questioned this connection because it was as natural as breathing. But as we built walls, machines, and cities of steel, we built distance too. Distance from the soil, from silence, from the invisible thread that once bound us to meaning. And in that distance, anxiety was born, not as an illness, but as homesickness for the sacred. In ancient times, the ones who felt too much, the ones who dreamed vividly, cried easily, sensed storms before they came, were not shamed for their sensitivity. They were honored. They were the healers, the visionaries, the shamans who could read the language of the unseen. Their trembling hands and restless nights were not called disorders. They were seen as channels of spirit. When they spoke of feeling a weight in the air, tribes listened, because that weight often meant something real, a shift in energy, a message from the beyond. Today, that same gift is pathologized. A person who weeps without knowing why is told they're unstable. One who senses energy is mocked as irrational. Our modern world has forgotten that there are dimensions of perception beyond logic. We've turned mystery into inconvenience, silence into awkwardness, and stillness into laziness. No wonder we ache. We have erased the sacred and then wondered why our souls panic. But the sacred never truly leaves, it only hides beneath the noise. When anxiety rises in you, it's the sacred knocking again, asking to be remembered. It's your intuition saying, there is more than this surface life. It's the part of you that remembers something older than culture, something eternal. Think of a child. Before the world teaches them what to fear, they live in wonder. They talk to the wind, dance with shadows, and find magic in puddles. Their joy is spontaneous, their curiosity boundless. They cry when they're sad and laugh when they're delighted. They are pure presence, alive to every sensation. And then, slowly, we train them out of it. We say, be serious, grow up, stop crying, focus on what matters. What matters, apparently, is achievement, image, control. And so, little by little, the child folds away their wonder, their intuition, their sacred awareness. Years later, that folded part begins to stir again. It stirs as restlessness, as anxiety. That ache you feel in your chest isn't weakness. It's your inner child remembering what it was like to live fully. The child inside you isn't asking for success. It's asking for aliveness. A woman once told me she used to paint for hours as a child. She would lose herself in colors, feeling time dissolve. But life got serious and she stopped. Decades later, she found herself sitting in an office, staring at spreadsheets, heart pounding for no reason. She thought she was having panic attacks. But when she finally picked up brush again, something in her body exhaled. She realized her anxiety had been creativity trapped in a cage. Her awakening began the moment she let herself create again. This is what anxiety often is, the trapped life force of your soul, begging to move. Not all discomfort is pathology. Sometimes it's passion with nowhere to go. Sometimes it's truth that has been silenced for too long. When you feel that tremor inside, don't rush to medicate it away. Ask yourself, what in me is trying to live again? Remember, awakening is rarely peaceful at first. It shakes foundations. It exposes falsehoods. It strips away illusions you once relied on for safety. The dark night of the soul, as mystics call it, is not punishment, it's purification. It's the sacred fire burning away what isn't real so that what is real can emerge. It's messy and raw and often painful, but it's also the birthplace of transformation. You may find that the more you awaken, the lonelier you feel. Because as you rise in awareness, you see things others still sleep through. You notice falseness in conversations, emptiness in ambitions, the hollowness of much of modern success. But loneliness, too, is sacred. It's the space between the life that's dying and the one that's being born. Solitude is the cocoon from which new wings unfold. In this sacred remembering, small things become holy again. The sound of rain, the scent of earth, the warmth of sunlight on your face. You begin to see that the divine was never absent. It was simply overlooked. Anxiety fades not because the world becomes perfect, but because you start to perceive the perfection already hidden within it. To remember the sacred is to re-enter rhythm, not the rhythm of clocks, but the rhythm of breath, of tides, of heartbeat. Notice how the ocean doesn't rush its waves, how trees don't compete to bloom first, how dawn never forces itself early. Nature lives by presence, not pressure. Your soul longs for the same. If you can slow down enough, anxiety softens into awe. Beneath the tremor is wonder. Beneath the panic is perception. Beneath the fear is feeling. The more you listen, the more you realize what you've been calling anxiety is often your sensitivity tuning to a higher frequency of truth. There is power in naming your experience differently. When you say, "I am broken," the body contracts. When you say, "I am awakening," it relaxes. Language matters. The way you speak to your pain shapes the way it heals. So the next time your heart races, whisper to it, "Thank you for reminding me I am alive." Because only the living feel this much. Awakening isn't about transcending life, it's about entering it fully. It's not about becoming untouchable, it's about becoming profoundly touchable, open, real. It's about remembering that every tear, every heartbeat, every breath is sacred. And when you start to live from that remembrance, you stop asking, "How do I get rid of anxiety?" and start asking, "How do I honor what it's revealing?" Because every tremor, every wave, every heartbeat is the sacred speaking in the language of your body, reminding you that you were never lost. You were simply being called home. Imagine standing in a crowded room where everyone is pretending to have a good time. The laughter sounds rehearsed, the smiles too sharp. You look around and realize something feels off. That tension rising in your chest isn't antisocial. It's your soul's truth whispering, "This isn't real joy." This, in essence, is the anxiety of modern civilization. We are at a party that forgot why it began. The lights are bright, the music loud, but the meaning has slipped out the back door. We've been taught to see this dissonance as personal failure. But your discomfort is not yours alone. It is collective. It belongs to every soul that still remembers what authenticity feels like. When you feel restless, scrolling through endless feeds, when you sense hollowness behind endless productivity, when you long for quiet but can't find it, those are not signs of weakness. They are proof that your spirit hasn't been fully tamed by artificial life. The anxiety you feel is not simply chemical, it's existential. It's the ache of consciousness trying to find its rhythm in a world that has lost its song. When you sense that something is missing, you are right. Something is missing. Presence, mystery, connection, wonder. We've traded the sacred for the synthetic, the authentic for the efficient. We call it progress, but deep down, the soul calls it separation. And yet, there is hope in the ache. Because to feel this much means you're still alive to what's real. Your awareness is your resistance. Your anxiety is your rebellion against numbness. And that rebellion is holy. The great paradox of awakening is this: the pain that once felt unbearable becomes your path to peace. The shaking, the questioning, the unease, it all points toward wholeness. When you finally stop running from it, something miraculous happens. The same energy that once terrified you begins to guide you. Your anxiety becomes a compass pointing toward freedom. So how do you follow it? Not by overhauling your life overnight, not by escaping to a monastery or throwing away your phone. Awakening isn't about escape, it's about presence. It begins with small acts of remembrance. When you wake up in the morning, before reaching for your devices, reach for your breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. That's life, right there, happening effortlessly. It asks for nothing but your attention. When you eat, taste your food as if you've never tasted it before. When you walk, notice the rhythm of your steps, the way the earth holds you. When you talk to someone, truly listen. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. These are not trivial acts. They are sacred rituals disguised as ordinary moments. Each time you return to the present, you come home to yourself. And each time you come home, the world feels a little less chaotic. Because peace doesn't begin when the world changes. It begins when your perception does. Think of awakening as dawn light filtering through closed blinds. At first, it's uncomfortable. The brightness stings your eyes. But as they adjust, the world takes shape, more vivid than before. Anxiety is that first sting. It hurts because you were accustomed to darkness. The light isn't punishing you, it's revealing what was always there. You might also notice that awakening brings grief. Grief for all the years you lived disconnected. Grief for the natural world disappearing, for relationships that never touched depth, for moments you rushed through. This grief is sacred too. It means your heart is soft enough to feel again. Let it break open. Let it ache. Because right behind grief waits gratitude, the deep, steady kind that doesn't depend on circumstances, only awareness. There will also be moments of stillness, brief, fleeting, yet vast. You'll be sitting in silence, maybe by a window or beneath a tree, and for a heartbeat, everything will make sense. The noise will pause. You'll feel part of something immeasurable. That is your true home. That is what anxiety has been trying to lead you toward all along. You don't have to call it enlightenment or salvation. Call it remembering. Remembering that you are not a machine. Remembering that you are part of a living earth. Remembering that joy isn't earned, it's allowed. The more you honor this remembering, the more anxiety changes shape. It doesn't vanish, but it transforms, from panic into power, from pressure into presence. It becomes energy for creation, empathy, and truth. Your sensitivity becomes your strength. Your awareness becomes your gift. There's a quiet revolution happening within those who are awake enough to feel. It's not on the news or trending on screens. It happens in ordinary moments. Someone choosing silence instead of distraction. Someone planting a garden. Someone holding space for another's tears. Each small act of awareness ripples outward, softening the collective numbness bit by bit. If you've made it this far, it means your soul has chosen awareness over anesthesia. That alone is extraordinary. So instead of asking, how do I stop being anxious? Try asking, how do I live more truthfully? Because the answer to that question is the cure. The truth is, you can't fix the world's madness by becoming more efficient inside it. You can only heal it by becoming more real. Anxiety dissolves not when you dominate your feelings, but when you allow them to become teachers. Listen closely, and they'll tell you what you truly need. Maybe rest, maybe honesty, maybe purpose. Each time you follow that guidance, even in the smallest ways, you reclaim a fragment of your freedom. You begin to notice beauty again, the kind that doesn't need filters or validation. The sound of rain on your window, the way light moves through leaves, the gentle warmth of someone's laughter. These are not background details. They are reminders that life has always been enough. As your awareness deepens, you'll realize the world hasn't lost its magic. It's just been waiting for you to notice. The sacred never left. It only needed your attention. So the next time that restless energy rises, pause before calling it anxiety. Ask instead, what truth are you showing me now? Maybe it's urging you to slow down, to realign, to live softer. Maybe it's reminding you that every moment is holy if you enter it fully. You are not broken. You are awakening. Your trembling is transformation. Your anxiety is aliveness. Breathe, listen, return. Because in the end, it was never about curing anything. It was always about remembering that you are not anxious. You are awake. And the world, aching for its own renewal, needs exactly that. More people who are truly deeply awake. Welcome home.